Listen, have you noticed something very special about new Kellogg's Oot Free Oops Lay? They Els may so delicious stay. Sparkling with Overshay.
Els may so delicious day. I have a terrible cold, you know.
Oot Free Oops Lay.
Luckily, it hasn't affected my appetite.
It's been a while since I've made a video discussing the history and evolution of a food/advertising mascot. So I'm bringing it back in today's video, and we'll be discussing the history and evolution of Froot Loops mascot, Toucan Sam. So before we get into the history of Toucan Sam, we'll first take a look at the history of Froot Loops. Froot Loops debuted in 1963 as a replacement for another Kellogg cereal named O'K's. They were named O'K's because the little cereal pieces were in the shape of O's and K's. And these were created to be pretty much a knockoff version of General Mills' Cheerios, which were very popular at the time. You're probably looking at this box and thinking, who is this strange man that looks like he's gonna punch me if I do not eat his cereal? Well, this was O'K's mascot, Big Otis, who was pretty much just a Scottish dude. Here he is in a live-action commercial. But, seeing this dude does not make me want to eat O'K's. Cereal mascots should be fun and colorful, not just a guy. And this must have been a common opinion among people at the time, because Big Otis would eventually be replaced sometime in the early 60s by Yogi Bear. But even after this, O'K's were not nearly as popular as Cheerios, so the product was eventually discontinued. But there was an issue. Kellogg's did not want the machinery that made the letters in O'K's to go unused. It'd be a waste for them to pay for all that special machinery just to scrap it. So they came up with a new cereal that could use the same machinery. And yes, you guessed it, that cereal was Froot Loops. And like I said before, Froot Loops debuted in 1963 and included the colors red, orange, and yellow. And at the same time the cereal was introduced, so was its mascot, Toucan Sam, who appeared on the cereal's box and in television commercials to promote the product to all the impressionable children that may be watching. In said commercials, Toucan Sam was voiced by Mel Blanc, and he had an odd gimmick where he would speak in pig Latin. It must have been very confusing for the people at the time.
Listen, have you noticed something very special about new Kellogg's Oot Free Oops Lay? They Els may so delicious stay.
Also, in some of these commercials, Sam would appear alongside these baby toucans and would usually get easily upset at them.
Froot Loops!
Okay, who said it?
Said what?
The other name for Oot Free Oops Lay.
He said it! He said Froot Loops! I didn't say Froot Loops! You're right! I said it!
What?
Froot Loops! They don't spell any different to me.
Why not?
I have a cold.
Use the right name for the secret cereal.
For what? For Froot Loops!
All right.
In the 70s, Paul Frees would take over the voice role for Toucan Sam, who would now speak with a British accent. Also, the two baby toucans were now gone, and in their stead, the ads now had a new dynamic, where a less easily enraged Toucan Sam would come across someone and help guide them to a bowl of Froot Loops.
Where am I?
The jungle.
The jungle? Me without grub, I'll starve. Mr. Mole, don't despair of fruitful breakfasts in the air. Follow your nose.
Yahoo!
It always knows the flavor of fruit. Kellogg's Froot Loop cereal. These Froot Loops are good, but you're a funny-looking chicken.
As you just saw, around this time, Toucan Sam would also get his famous catchphrase of follow your nose, but it seems he meant it as follow his nose, because either he would be the guide to the legendary Froot Loops, or he would slap a recreation of his own beak on the animals. Is their nose not good enough, Sam? Sam doesn't even have a nose, he has a beak, which has nostrils I guess, but technically it's not a nose. In 1986, Paul Frees would pass away, and Maurice LaMarche would begin voicing Toucan Sam. Also around this time, the baby Toucan nephews would return, and this time they took a page out of Donald Duck's book and gave him 3 nephews, each with a rhyming name: Huey, Susie, and Louie. Seems like they may have taken a little too much out of Donald Duck's book. And these 3 nephews were voiced by Jim Cummings and Frank Welker. I'm not exactly sure who voiced who because they kind of look and sound the same to me, but if you can figure it out, let me know. Throughout the 90s, the cereal itself got some changes. It got a few new colors, which were green, purple, and blue. Now going back to the commercials, occasionally they would tell a story that would span a few commercials. For example, there were a few ads where Toucan Sam and his nephews had to stop this evil peacock character who steals colors for some reason. And after everything was resolved, there was a new rainbow variant of Froot Loops, They would be sold in stores for a limited time. And there were also some ads that ran from 2005 to 2009, yes, 4 years, where Sam and his nephews go on an epic quest in search of Blackbeak's treasure after the nephews find a treasure map. And along the way, they would discover many new types of Fruit Loops that would be sold in stores for a limited time, such as Colossal Fruit Loops,
Humongous, enormous loops! I'd say colossal. New Colossal Fruit Loop cereal.
Starberry Fruit Loops,
Now you can discover Starberries in Kellogg's Fruit Loop cereal.
Smoothie Fruit Loops,
Whoa, look! A yogurty treasure! Together with Fruit Loops pieces makes new Fruit Loops smoothie cereal.
and Darkberry Fruit Loops.
New Darkberry Fruit Loop cereal. Boy, they're yummy!
And to think you used to be afraid of the dark.
And when the group finally gets to the treasure, Blackbeak is already waiting for them. Wow. After 4 years, we will finally get to see this epic showdown happen. They will probably spend a whole year worth of commercials fighting Blackbeak after all this build-up.
He got me.
Oh, never mind, he gave up instantly. In the end, it even seems like Sam and Blackbeak became friends. Ever since his first appearance, Toucan Sam's design remained relatively the same. He did get a few changes here and there, but the biggest change came in 2020, where Toucan Sam starred in a brand new commercial, where he was voiced by Matthew Curtis, and looked like this. And, pretty much everyone hated this design, myself included. This looks absolutely horrendous. Just look at the mouth. That makes no sense. What is happening here?
Toucan Sam?
Want to see the Fruit Loops world?
Yeah!
Follow me!
Thankfully though, after all the outcry from the internet at the time, this design was scrapped, but he did still get a new one, which made him look like this, which is actually pretty decent. I don't hate it. And this is Toucan Sam's current design, which appears on the cereal box, in commercials, and in merchandise. Yes, these are in fact official Toucan Sam Crocs. And his current voice actor is Colin Cassidy.
Part of a complete dance break.
His beak and body now represent every Fruit Loop color, which is what his very first design did, but whenever the new Fruit Loop colors came out in the 90s, his design never reflected this, so I'm surprised his design did not change sooner. Also, his earlier appearance on the cereal's box had him wearing a fruit hat. I have nothing to say about it really, I just thought it looked kinda silly. How is he supposed to fly with that big thing on his head? Anyways, I think that's a good point to end off this video. So, if you did enjoy this video, a subscription, a like, and maybe even a comment would be greatly appreciated. Also, I'll have a few of my other videos linked in the description, so feel free to check those out if you want. Now before we end, I do have one question. What is fruit? I don't mean F-R-U-I-T, I know what that is, but what is F-R-O-O-T? I guess we may never know. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.